Hello guys, you are welcome to the Quantity Surveying Academy. In today's video, we are going to be learning how we can prepare a bar bending schedule. So this is a sample of what I am talking about. As you can see, this is a bar bending schedule for beam, but you can decide to automate your own in such a way that all you need to do is to create a little changes in the automated spreadsheet for your own bar bending schedule, so that even if there is a change in plan, change in design, you can easily generate the quantity of reinforcement that is required for a specific construction. So this bar bending schedule here is for this beam. This is a beam we have here, but this is not what we'll be working on today. Today we are going to be working on the column base of any kind of structure. So number one thing you need to know is to understand how you can interpret the illustrations or the representations of bars in the column base drawing. So this is the plan for the column base, and what we have up here is this section. So in this section we can see the distribution bars at the top, and we can see the main bars underneath. So these are the main bars underneath and the distribution bars on top. So you can see that the bars are not just straight alone, they have some bend to make sure it gives a firm grip into the concrete work itself. So from this particular drawing, we can produce an automated spreadsheet using Excel or whatsoever kind of spreadsheet platform you want to make use of. You can use WPS or whichever one you have. So we can use it to automate a particular spreadsheet to produce a schedule that looks like this. But since I want us to automate it on Excel, it means we may likely be having columns that exceed the columns we have in this particular design. So without much delay, let us go straight into producing a bar bending schedule for this particular column here. So I've opened up my Excel. This is my Excel spreadsheet. You can see I've not done anything on it. I want us to have a step-by-step understanding on how to produce this schedule. So even if you are a novice to Excel, if you don't even know how to make use of this particular software, Microsoft Excel, just stay tuned, because everything I'll be doing, you need to follow me step by step and understand each and every one of what I'll be entering into this sheet, so that you can also produce your own on your own subsequently. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and like this video. Make sure you share it to your friends so that they can get to learn what you are also enjoying from the Quantity Surveying Academy. So I always love to leave my font in Times New Roman. So we have Times New Roman now. I love to leave my font in 12. I'm used to using the font size as 12. So if you are new to Excel, you can see that this entire selection I did is a column. Then if I select it this way, we have a row. But if I pick up just one of it this way, this is a cell, the combination of a row and a column. So this is called a cell. So you just need to have this basic knowledge anyway. So what I want to do is for us to produce a schedule for this particular design. Now before I start writing into the Excel spreadsheet, take a look at this. This is a column that has a dimension of 2000, column base, sorry, 2800 by 2100. Then we have another column base with the dimension 3100 by 2500. Now you can see that the reinforcement bars inside these columns are bent. That is to say that aside from their length spanning from the beginning here down to this place, they also have a hook that bends up this way and this way. So you need to put that into consideration while making provision for the calculations of its quantities. So let us look at the first bar we have here. This is, okay, let's say this is the main bar. This is the main bar here, the longest. So now for this main bar, we can see an indication that shows us 11T16. Let me zoom in. Okay, we can see an indication that shows us 11T16 O2 200 B1. I've explained this particular stuff before in my explanation for staircase, structural staircase. So I'll still repeat this again. Now this 11 here stands for the number of these bars. I have to tell you that this bent bar here are 11 in numbers. Then T16 is the size of the bar, telling you that it is 16 mm diameter bar. This O2 is just the nomenclature. It's like the barcode that is is a barcode that just helps to single out each of the bars in the structures. Then 200 here stands for the spacing. That's to tell you that each of these bars, because you won't have just a single bar here, you'll be having more than 2-3 bars in this particular column base. So 200 is the spacing between each bar. So you have one, you have another one at a space or at an interval of 200, and so on and so forth. Then B1, that is the bottom. That should indicate the bottom. Normally you'd either see B and T, top and bottom, or you see B, which is bottom, you see T, which is for top. So since there is no T here, it means that the reinforcement bars are just at the bottom, just as you can see here. They are at the bottom. If there is T, you will see it at the top here. So take note of that. The same thing applies to this second one. This second one here, as you can see, it is pointing down to 15 numbers of 16 mm diameter bars. So this is the code 01. Then at 190 mm spacing, they are also at the bottom. So take note of that. So this is number one thing you should know. Now moving on to the spreadsheet. We need to, usually I don't like using this first row, because when I skip this first row and start from the second row, it makes my work look more beautiful. So let's start from the second row instead of the first row. So what I have here is serial number. I have serial number. Then this should be description. So I have to expand this. All you just need to do is to right click and hold. Then you shift your mouse, let's say right to the right, to expand this particular columns. So here I'll put down description. Okay, so this is description. Now the next thing I have here is the diameter of my bar, so I'll still expand here as well. So what I'm going to label here as is bar diameter. So bar diameter is going to be in let's say we're going to leave our bar diameters in millimeters, because it is always shown in millimeters. Now what we need to do next is we are going to calculate the weight of our bar diameter. So we are going to say weight per meters, or I can say kg per meters. So that is going to be the weight of the bar per meters. So you have to calculate it, and I'm going to show you how to do that here. So after we've done that, the next thing we need to look into is our concrete cover. Let me reduce this so that we can have enough space. So here we need our concrete cover. Alright, so after concrete cover, the next thing is the spacing of each bars. So we have spacing. So after the spacing, then the actual length. Remember, in this particular drawing here, sorry, not this, in this one, we have the length from this point to this point, excluding the bend. So that is the length we are talking about here. So I'm going to have the length here, and after the length, then I can now include the bend. So the combination of length and bend would give us the real bend of, or sorry, the calculated length of this bar. So here, or the expand, so that I can have my calculated, calculated length. So let's expand a little. So we have calculated length for the bar. So after that, number of bars. So we expand it as well. So after the number of bars, the next thing we need to have is the layers. So when we are inputting the values, I'll explain what all this means, and then the last thing we would need is the total length. So the total length. Now I haven't gotten the total length. Remember that the essence of producing this schedule is to get the quantity. So in this case, I can impute quantity, and if I don't want to impute quantity, I may just bring down quantity at the bottom of the table. There are different ways you can go about this. So permit me to reduce this column. I want it to be showing on this page completely. So I'm going to reduce bar diameter, so that here I can put in the shape or the size. So you can just say shape. So this is going to help us see visually how these bars are going to look like. Now this is just the heading you need, and when you get this heading in place and understand all these particular columns, then it is very easy for you to continue to replicate this, whether it is for slab, concrete floor slab, concrete oversight slab, that is suspended slab, or even beams and let's say the column itself. Whichever the case may be, it is going to be easy for you to produce this. Alright, so let me move on. Now the next thing to do after you've done this heading is to put in your borders. So what I'm going to do is to select this place this way. I'm going to select it and go down to this particular functionality here. So I'll go to borders. So in my borders, I'll select this. I love using this, so I'm going to impute these borders this way. Now that I've imputed these borders, so this is what we have. Let's assume that I'm going to be making use of this space from here down to this place. Yeah, let's stop here. Alright, so I'll still go down to these borders so that I would redesign more borders. Select below, select this way, select this side as well, then I'll select this middle. Don't select this horizontal because I don't like demarcating my rows. So this is what we have. Alright, now we're almost there. I'm going to select this column, this row, sorry, below the heading. Then I'll still go down to my borders, and I still want to carry out one more design. I'll close this place up and open up the middle. So I will now end up having something like this. Wow, it's looking good now. Alright, so remember we changed this particular this font to Times New Roman. Sorry, it was here, but it's not applicable to everything. So for you to apply this font to everything, you can just select all, select everywhere, then you come down here and retype. So this is it, Times New Roman, and then you change the font size. You still apply it as 12, so it's going to affect everything. The next thing you want to do is to centralize all the things you'll be doing here. So I will just come down to this place and click on center. So you can see everything is now centralized and it's looking perfect. Okay, now that we've already created this table, we are almost done with our bar bending schedule. Yes, I mean we're almost done with it, because if you can enter all the values here, then you are good to go. So remember this particular template. If you really want to get this template, at the end of the tutorials I'm going to leave a link where I'm going to share this template with every one of you who are interested to get it or download it. So just stay tuned to the very end and make sure you like this video while downloading this particular spreadsheet. You can decide to produce your own after by following these tutorials gradually anyway. Alright, so let's go back to our plan. So we have the main bars, then we have the distribution bars. So we are going to start with the first one, number 1. This is main bar. Then we'll go to the second one. I like to skip this kind of space because of the drawing. We are going to impute the shape here, so it's nice to give enough space for a shape. So the second one is the distribution bars. So we have distribution bars here. So the diameter for the main bar is 16. You can see it in the drawing here. We have it as T16. Alright, so let me split the screen into two so that we can see this clearly. Alright, so we have T16. Then for the distribution bars, we also have T16. So this is going to be 16. Alright, now the kg per meters. In order to convert, there is a formula for converting your bars, reinforcement bars, from this thing from length to meters. So in order to develop that formula, it's just as simple as just remembering that the formula is given as diameter square divided by 162, then times the length. So all you just need to know is to get this particular let's say this particular place here, that is this kg per meters. For any kind of bar, the formula is simple, and it is the square of the reinforcement bar diameter divided by 162. So whether it's 12 mm bars, you're going to use 12 square divided by 162. If it is 16 mm, it's going to be 16 square divided by 162. If you have 10 mm, you repeat the same procedure. So to get this column here, it is just constant. So all that happens is if you put the formula here, so anytime the bar changes at this place, anytime you can make use of this particular spreadsheet over and over again, whether it is for column, for beams, or whatsoever. So if there is a change in the bar size, you just need to change it here and it will automatically appear in this place. So let us put in the formula. So when you put in a formula in Excel, the first thing you start with is your equal to. So we want to square 16. So because we want to square 16, we are going to say this column multiplied by this column again. That makes it square. Alright, so follow me gradually. Divide by 162. So that is going to give me the let's say the quantity of any 16 mm bar per meters. So let us take a look at this. Assuming that this particular column is 12, for those of you that are already conversant with 12 mm, this in the kg per meters of 12 mm, take a look at this. We have it as equal to this column multiplied by this column divided by 162, and that should give us 0.8889, which is the actual value we know. So I just did this for verification. So just don't forget, diameter square over 162 is the appropriate formula. So the same thing applies here. Instead of repeating or rewriting that formula we've written here, I can just come down here, select and drag down. So the formula is going to be applicable here again. Then I can select these three and press delete on my keyboard, and that is going to eliminate it completely. Okay, now we've gotten the kilogram per meters of each of this diameter, which is very important for converting your reinforcement from length to kg. That is the essence of having this column. Now the next thing is concrete cover. Like I said, the main bar is not going to span to the end of the concrete. It's going to stop. It's stopping somewhere here, as you can see. So this small space here, I would assume it to be 50. But irrespective of the particular construction you're undertaking, the structural designer is going to give some specification. Sometimes it can be 75. Sometimes you may have it as something that is lower than 75. But for these tutorials, I'll be making use of 50. So since the concrete cover is 50, I'm going to put down 50 here. So here as well, for the distribution bar, we have it as 50. So you can see both the main bars and distribution bars are 50. Forget the fact that we have it in two places, but for this table, let us go with 50 for the main time. Now let's move down again. We're going down to spacing. Now look at this. For the main bars, our spacing is 200. So you put it down. Main bars, the spacing is 200. That means the main bars are spaced at 200, while the distribution bars are spaced at 190. I've explained this earlier. Now, if you are working with this particular structure and you've been given all these values, then there is no point putting in this column of concrete cover spacing and some other particular columns that you may end up seeing later in the tutorial. But the reason why I'm doing this particular in-depth bar bending schedule is in case you are given a plan that does not have a complete detail this way, you can easily produce those details with this particular schedule. For instance, putting down this spacing, this concrete cover would help me to be able to generate the number of bars which have already been established here as 11 and 15. So from this spreadsheet, you'll be able to see how the designer arrived at this 11 and how he or she arrived at this 15 just by making use of this spreadsheet. Now let us move down to the length. To get the length, look at the main bars. You know, we are still in the main bar. Let me expand it. Okay, so now for the main bar, we want to get the length. Let's come back to this drawing. If you look at this drawing carefully, you can see that the length of the main bar from this place to this place here is 2,800 excluding the bend. So since it is 2,800, we need to deduct this concrete cover, this small space we have here, and we have to deduct it in two places. And I would come down to this length. I have 2,800. Sorry, let's start with equal to, because it's a formula. 2,800 minus, we have to multiply 2 times concrete cover, and we have 27. So let me repeat myself again. If you notice, let us do it here again. We're going to start with equal to, what is the length of the distribution bars? If you look at distribution bars, the length of the distribution bar, that is from this point to this point here, is given as 2,100. So since the distribution bar is 2,100, I'll say, sorry, equal to 2100 minus, I'll open my bracket, remember twice concrete cover, so 2 times the concrete cover, which is 50 here. See, I'm selecting 50. I'll close bracket and press enter. You can see I have it as 2000. So this has automated the deduction of this particular 50 mm concrete cover, so don't forget that. So let us go down to the bend. If you come down to the design and look carefully, the length of the bend is not given, but we know that the distance from here to here is 650, and below here we have a concrete cover, above we also have a concrete cover. So let's assume the concrete cover are all the same, 50 mm, 50 mm. So to get the actual length of the bend, I'm going to pick this 650 and minus twice concrete cover, so it will give me the real length, or sorry, yes, the real length, that is the depth of this particular bend. So in this bend, I'll repeat the same thing, equal to 650 minus, open your bracket, 2 times the concrete cover, which is 50. Then I'll close it again, and this is going to give me 550. So instead of typing in the same thing, I can just drag down so that the formula will replicate itself. So I'll delete these 3 here. Okay, so now I have the bend for this and I have the bend for this. So now we've gotten our bend. To get our calculated length now, remember the calculated length is the length from this point down to this point here. So that means the overall length plus the 2 bend that you have, that is what is going to be our calculated length. So to get our calculated length, I'm going to press equal to, this is the length we got for the main bar, 2700, then plus, open bracket, 2 times bend equal to, so this is 3800. So this is actually the calculated length. The reason why I had to use 2 times, look at it, this 2 here is showing us that we have 2 bend, that is one at this side here, another one at this side. So since one length of the bend is 550, if you multiply it by 2, it will give you the total length of this bend and this bend, then plus this length. That would amount to the calculated length. I hope this is clear enough. So in order to proceed, let me repeat it in this one. We have equal to, this is the length plus, in bracket, 2 times the bend that we've gotten. So this is going to give us 3100. So this is the calculated length. So for every one this in main bar, the length is 38, and for every single distribution bar, the length is 3100. Now how do I get the number of these bars? This is where this length and the spacing comes into play, and that is why we separated the length from the bend. Now let's go back to the drawing and see. If you look at this arrow, the arrow is pointing from this point to this point, and if you notice, it is linked to the main bar. See it, this dot here that is joining this arrow and this main bar is showing you that the main bar is arranged from this point to this point at a spacing of 200. So if you want to know the quantity or the number of these bars that are arranged from this point to this point, we are going to pick this length, that is this distribution length, and divide by the spacing of 200. So it's going to be from here to this place, 200 to this place. So that is going to tell you the number of the main bars that are arranged along the distribution bar. So just remember that is as simple as picking the length without the bend of the distribution bar, divide by the spacing for the main bar. That will give us the number of main bars. Then if you want to repeat the same thing for the distribution bar, if you notice, the arrow for the distribution bar starts from here and terminates here. That means it is along the main bar. So we'll pick the length of the main bar, divide by the spacing of the distribution bar to know how many distribution bar are arranged along the main bars. So the number of bars now, this is for the main bar. So I'll start with equal to this length of the distribution bar. Can you see what I'm doing? You can see that in the main bar, I'm picking the length of the distribution bar, divide by the spacing of the main bar plus 1. So you see, I have 11. That is so perfect and excellent, as you can see. Then I'll repeat the same thing here again, equal to get the number of distribution bar, you will pick the length of the main bar, divide by the spacing, this is the spacing here of the distribution bar, plus 1 equal to, so you can see 15 point whatsoever. Let us change it to whole number, by right clicking on this particular cell, then you go down to format cell. In format cell, select number, then go down to number and change the decimal place to 0. So we are changing it to 0, and then this is okay. So you can see it is now 15 numbers. So from this simple calculation, you can see that the quantity that is given here as 11 and 15 are perfect and correct. So remember, to get the number of your main bar, you are going to pick the length of your distribution bar, divide by spacing for the main bar plus 1. While to get the number of your distribution bar, you pick the length of your main bar, divide by spacing of the distribution bar plus 1. That is how we got this. Now for these layers, we'll be having, for the layer here, I would have 1, and here 1 in numbers. The reason why I added anything like layer is because, like I mentioned before, I told us that in some occasion we can have something like T and B here to make it top and bottom. So if you have top and bottom, the layers will be 2, because you have one of this bar at the bottom and one at the top. But since it is just the bottom and this one is also the bottom, forget about these 2 and this 1. It doesn't really influence what we are doing here. So the only thing that can influence or change these layers from 1 to 2 is when you have it as T and B, which is top and bottom. So since it is just bottom, it's going to be 1, 1. Now the last thing to do here is the total length. We have already known that this is the number of the main bars that are in that particular column base, and this is the calculated length, which includes the bend and the actual length and exclude the concrete cover. So to get this total length here, I just need to multiply this calculated length by the number of bars, because this calculated length is the actual length, and then this is how many of the bars are in the column base. So I'll just press equal to calculated length times this particular number of bars equal to, so we have it as 48,000. But remember that our conversion is in meters. So what I need to do to this formula is to put it in brackets, put this formula in bracket, and then I'm going to say divide by 1000, because all the calculations we've done so far are in millimeters, but this case I've converted it to meters. I always love to leave this place in 2 decimal place. So I'll just select it from the top, right click, then I'll go to format cell and make it 2 decimals, then I'll click OK. So now it is in 2 decimal. So how did I do that again? Just this times this, divide by 1000. So you can drag it down to replicate the formula, so it will show up here as well. Then I can delete these 3. Alright, so here we have the quantity of the distribution bars. This is the total length, and this is the total length for the main bars. Now to get the quantity, remember that we have kg per meter as these values here. So this conversion we did earlier is going to come in handy. The quantity is going to be in kg. Put it in bracket, quantity in kg. So to have my quantity in kg, all I need to do is to put my equal to total length times kg per meters. That is it. Alright, so here the same thing, equal to the total length times kg per meters, and that is going to give you the quantity of these bars in kg. So remember to always format and leave it in 2 decimal place. Okay, but since it is going to be in kg, you can leave it in 3 decimal places also. So let's format. I'm leaving this in, okay, let's say 2 decimal place. So since this is in 2 decimal place, in this place I can now put in the shape for this particular let's say for this particular bars. For these bars, as you can see, the shape is bent, and it's very easy to create such kind of shape here in the Excel. That's the last thing we are going to be doing. Remember, you can also leave your answers in tones instead of in kg, but so this is just the final step. So what I will do is to merge these 3 cells together. Then I'm going to do the same here. So I'll merge from top to this place 3 cells. So you see, select the 3 cells, then come down to this merge center, and then you click. You can use merge across, which is not okay. Just merge cells. So if I merge cells, it's going to give me this perfect size or shape that I can use to create the drawing. Now to do the shape, I just need to go down to insert. If I click on insert, now under this insert you are going to see numerous kinds of options here. So I will come to illustrations. In illustrations we have shapes. If you are not using the current 2021 or 2022 let's say Microsoft Office, in the previous version you would easily find the shape around this place where I have illustrations. So just click on shape. When you click on shape, select this. I'm going to use line, so I'm going to draw a straight line. This is it, a straight line. Okay, so this is perfect. We have a straight line now. So I want to format this straight line, so I would come up here, go to outline. I want it to be black, then still click on shape outline again and go to weight. So in the weight, I'm going to make sure it is a bit okay. Now this is good, it is fat this way. Then I'll repeat the same thing again. Still on the insert, I can still select this and Ctrl C. So this Ctrl C is copy. So I've copied, I would Ctrl V. I've pasted this, so I'm going to shorten it. So this is how you edit this particular shape. Okay, so I've shortened it. Then I'll still Ctrl C again and copy it so that I can replicate it for the second side. So after Ctrl C, then you Ctrl V to paste. Alright, so I've pasted with Ctrl V and I used Ctrl C to copy. So let's see. Perfect. So this is how the shape of the main bar is. So I'll repeat the same thing for my distribution bar. Just highlight these 3 cells and then go to the merge center and merge cells. When I merge cells, instead of repeating or spending time to repeat this same design, I will just come down here, select this cell and press Ctrl. Select this and press Ctrl A. So I selected one of the line and press Ctrl A, so it selected everything. Then I'll press Ctrl C to copy again. I'll come back to this cell and paste with Ctrl C, so I can just use my arrow to adjust it. Okay, so I've adjusted it. Now this is the shape of the distribution bars and this is the shape of the main bars. So this is just the final figure for our bar bending schedule. If you wish to make this look a lot more beautiful, you can decide to add some colors. I could decide to select this top here and then I'll come down to this place here and let's make it blue. Okay, this is blue, nice. Then I could decide to come down to this place here and let's make this red. Or I think let's make it yellowish so that we can get our total as yellow. I could decide to make this yellowish by selecting this color, and here we have our final value. So I can decide to reduce this by deleting these columns here. So I'll delete and shift cells up. Okay, so I've deleted. So in this place here, I'll just go back to my border and then click the bottom. Good. Now this is now my bar bending schedule. This is actually beautiful. You can decide to create any more design you want. So at the end of the day, you notice that if the length changes, just a little change to this length is going to automatically change the quantity. So if the length changes to, let's say, 4,500 and I change this from 28 to 45, you end up seeing that the quantity for everything here will change automatically. So let's bring it back to the 28 that we have. So this is it, 28, and this is perfect for our bar bending schedule. So if you have any question, you can leave your question in the in the comment section below. And if you love what I've done so far on this video, just kindly leave your comments to encourage me more, and also like this video, subscribe to this channel, and make sure you share what you've learned so far with your friends. I'm going to be preparing a bar bending schedule for slab subsequently in our subsequent videos, and also for those that have been asking for videos on taking off quantities for staircase, I'll be completing that next. So make sure you stay tuned to this channel and follow us in our social media handles, my Instagram page, and other ways that you could actually keep in touch with us. Thank you very much for sticking to the end of these videos. Kindly support us by joining our channel's membership or support us on Patreon, which I'm going to be linking to the description box below. See you next time. Stay tuned.